Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Don't forget, if you like the video, click on like and subscribe and talk about it on chat lines, wherever it is your social media activities, and help us to grow and help more people. I'll talk to you soon. Because what he did, he said, wait, there's some more. So what he did this time, he said, which was brilliant, he said, now this time, I want you to do the same exercise and record the time that you make a decision as the sweeping hand of the clock moves. But when you decide to push the button, say, okay, I decide to push the button, say, oh, no, I won't. Veto your decision. So they went through the exercise, and then when they were looking at the records and they looked at the time that the person made the decision to push the button, obviously, as they experienced before, their document shows half a second before the decision was made to push the button, there was a spike in the brain, supposedly showing that there's no free will. Brain is doing everything. But then when the veto came, which was push the button, oh no, I won't, denying the decision that was made, there was no precursor. There was no activity in the brain. There was no spike in the brain. In fact, in the vetoing of the decision that was made, brain was not involved. It was beyond brain, which means the intellect, the persona, the you in there is beyond the brain's ability or activity or ability to reach, or beyond the brain power. And you are, in fact, in control of what brain can never be in control. You are, in fact, in control of whatever brain suggests or wants to bring to action, and you can veto it. You are the ultimate power in you. You are the maker or break, give life or take life away from what the brain conjures up or produces in the form of suggestion, thoughts, whatever else it is, that it may instigate the suggestion, but you are the ultimate power to diss it, ignore it, kill it, don't allow it, veto it, because you are the actual authority. The credibility relies in you, in your choice, in your decision, in your selection, based on your values, based on your preferences, based on your decision, is what is actually the power that you are unleashing over your life. It's not based on what the thought suggests or the thinkings that it suggests or pops up in your head, because the veto power is the ultimate power, that you decide this thought is not of my interest. This thought should die where it popped up, because I'm not going to respond to it. I'm not going to choose it. I'm not going to allow it to become anything. I just let it be, because thoughts are a dime a dozen. They come and go. It's like you go to a bazaar and they're all trying to sell you something. Buy this, buy that. They offer lots of things. But your choice, your veto power, is the one to allow any of these offers to be taken, or none of them, or be dissed or ignored, and move on to your direction. Which is the way to deal with the OCD or HOCD or any of these suggestive thoughts. The brain suggests something due to its malfunction, due to its protective function, due to its whatever it is that it pops up, but it is ultimately the power relies in your hand, the me in there, which is not the brain, and decides to veto it, allow it, look at it, pay attention to it, don't pay attention to it, ignore it, and move about your direction on your path to your life. These scientific experiments shows you that you're beyond the brain, and brain is a tool, apparatus. And what it suggests is not a deity, is not definition of you, is not defining you, and is not deciding for you. It can suggest, but its suggestion could be a suggestion of a crazy person in the street. Just because a suggestion is made, or in the bazaar, you don't have to buy it, you don't have to accept it. Your choice, based on your values, based on what you prefer, based on your inclination, based on what it is that you feel it's fit for you, what you've been, what you are, what you want to be, what you love to be, what you appreciate, what your preference is, that is the ultimate power, and not the brain. So, brain is not you, you're not the brain. And certainly what brain suggests or makes up cannot be you, for the brain itself is not you. You are the only power in this world that can decide, select, veto, and that's how you roll, and that's how it is. And beyond the shadow of the doubt, the science has come up with all the understanding of the time of Aristotle, who we are, what we are. And these things have already been proven hundreds of years ago by the thinkers and philosophers of the movement of mind, and who we are, what we are, and separation of brain, thoughts, and you. And now, this century's science proven what was already known, but we've been bamboozled and misled by believing that the brain is you. Far from it. Protect yourself, live your life based on your preferences, based on your values, your core principles, and protect those values includes your inclination, your gender, your personality, your persona, your faith, whatever that makes you to be who you are. That is what you protect by your choices, by the selection, and by dissing and ignoring the irrelevancy of whatever else we suggested. Whether it's from the people out there about your life, you, or from the brain that is right here about you or your life. Well, if all these scientific experiments and research and amazing work, brilliant works of neuroscientists, neurosurgeons, hasn't brought to the attention of the materialists that brain cannot reach what you are, brain cannot suggest what you are, and brain is not the intellect, and brain is not all what you are. You're beyond the brain. Brain is not you, and you're not the brain. And material is part of your physical being, and it can do certain things, but it's not what you're all about. You're beyond material. And that is something that has been philosophically proven from thousands of years ago, and advanced science has proved it over and over in the modern times. But let's see if this would also help them, or perhaps give them the last nudge. Let's see if they can tell us, or if we can tell ourselves, what material are we supposed to manipulate, press, push, or stimulate in the brain? What part of the brain are we supposed to push, manipulate, or probe in order to be able to do this in the next clip? And is this something that the brain can be manipulated and cause anybody to do it by pushing a part of the brain? Or is it something beyond the material and the function of material process? So let's watch and see if we can help the materialists to see it clear that they're beyond the brain, and what they're all about is something that brain cannot reach, and brain cannot explain, limit, or modify you. Let's watch. Well, we too, like the iceberg, have 1,000 times bigger powers that is not visible, and we must. Why? Is it something we're rambling on and I expect you to accept it? Or is there actually another power within us? Would you come and help me out? Okay. What I want you to do is put your hands underneath my arms and just lift me up. There we go. Okay, now, that's my physical part, right? Same thing, again, with that. Just want to see if there's any difference. Go ahead. Now, go ahead. Now, this, go ahead, when you're ready.
Go ahead.
So you see, this is different than what he was doing, and I'm not really doing anything. You convinced?
Yeah.
So are you guys convinced that there is something other than, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very much. So hopefully this conversation was helpful to you to bring to your attention that what you're all about, it's something that neither your brain nor any other part of you can reach. It's beyond the reach of all the apparatuses and the fragments of your existence, physically or materialistically, as part of your brain. What configures you is who you are, and who you are is not material. It's not defined by the process of the brain. It's not defined by thoughts that show up in the head. It's not defined by other people's utterings. It's not defined by other people's opinions. And it's not defined by the brain's opinions, suggestions, images, or thoughts. It is defined by your values It is defined by your identity. It is defined by your preferences. It is defined by your inner understanding of who you are and how you're put together. It is defined by what's meaningful to you, your lifestyle, your gender, your identity. It's defined by your vetoes and your choices. In the scientific experiments that we talked about in these segments, you're now well aware of the advanced science and how they have proven that the brain cannot change your consciousness, your intellect, your awareness, and the brain is not the intellect. Your identity doesn't have a place in the brain for it to be manipulated or changed or modified by a mere suggestion or a thought, whether it's coming from people out there for one reason or another, that they want to utter something negative or something different than what you are, based on whatever it is that they're interested or whatever it is that they're intending, nor by any thought that comes from the process of the brain, a material process. What you are is defined by your values, what's sacred to you, what you hold sacred, your values, what's meaningful to you, your lifestyle, your inclination, your gender, your identity, your preferences, your faith if you have one. This is what defines you, not a thought of the brain. In fact, you're beyond the brain and you know it. Brain is not you, you're not the brain, and what brain conjures up thoughts can never be you or have anything to do with changing you, modifying you. It can annoy you. It can suggest all kinds of things, like other people's utterings could annoy you with their manners, bad behavior, bad words. Words have meanings and it could annoy you, confuse you or distract you or manipulate you. But it cannot change you. And you can simply correct that by relying on your values, identity, your power of choices and veto. And that's where the intellect is. And that's where you are. You're a separate system than the brain. You're a separate system than your intestine. And the brain is no different than any other part of you, the intestine. It has a mandate to attend to, but it's not a deity. It's not defining you. It's not explaining you. It just does what it does, which is a spawn from negativity to protect you, and that's what it does. And when it goes rogue and you have OCD, it just goes beyond even trying to do its job. And that is when your veto and choices come into the picture to rescue, to bring you to focus on what you're all about, put you on the right path that you've always been, you want to be, you prefer to be, and you want to continue your journey in life on that path. Focus on your identity. Focus on your sacred values. Focus what's meaningful to you. Focus on your lifestyle. Focus on your preferences. Focus on your vetoes and choices. That's what defines you, not thoughts or suggestions. I hope this was helpful to you. Live your life free and based on your vetoes and choices and not suggestions or thoughts. I'll talk to you soon.